Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen with a 2018 recap for the Persistent Universe, Squadron 42 stuff, CIG company things, patch milestones, concept ships, and drama from throughout the year. As of the end of 2018, CIG has over 500 staff working for them across 5 studios for Star Citizen and Squadron 42. It's raised over $213 million with over 2.2 million Star Citizen accounts. Let's break the year down into quarters. So quarter 1 takes us to the end of March. And let's start with a quick recap, I suppose, of 2017 for this. The end of 2017 had left us with the Squadron 42 vertical slice, which was a pretty awesome video to show, and Star Citizen Alpha 3.0, which was rebuilding the Persistent Universe, Crusader, its 3 moons, which had the long-awaited procedural tech allowing us to travel from space to atmosphere to ground, a new mission system, and an increase from 24 players to 50 players for server cap, a dynamic economy as well, and a huge amount of background tech. It was basically smashing the previous placeholder Persistent Universe and gameplay area, and then setting it up as a foundation for all future work. But this also left a lot to be desired. There were lots of bugs, performance problems, unresponsive NPCs, IFCS, ESP, flight model problems, crashes, lots of things. The first patch of 2018, 3.0.1 on February 2nd, helped fix some of those issues. It also severely reduced NPC ship health, which had been a problem. And to start the concept sales for 2018, we had the Vulcan at the end of February. It's a small, medium refuel repair and rearm drone-based service utility ship. The ship has 4 drones that can be used to supply another ship with its required service, and that is the focus of the gameplay, using those drones to rearm, refuel, and repair. At the end of March, we had Alpha 3.1. Patch allowed us to create custom characters. It only had a few options for that customization, but everyone wasn't a clone anymore. Persistent logouts were added, meaning if you visited Grimhex, Port Lasarelevsky, then that would be the location you spawned at next time when you logged on, or if you died. There was AI interdiction, NPCs pulling you out of quantum travel. This went through iterations of being all the time, every time you quantum traveled, to very rarely. It was turned off occasionally as well because it caused a huge amount of performance problems. Service beacons were added, allowing player contracts, so you could request combat assistance like an escort or distress signal, or transportation from one place to another. This patch opened up a huge amount of gameplay, especially with those service beacons, as well as adding the Reclaimer, which was the biggest ship that we had at that time. The Terrapin and the Tumbrel Cyclone, probably the most fun of the ground vehicles. That Tumbrel Cyclone, really quite fun. The Miss Grazer and the Nox Q were also there too. Q2, so this takes us to the end of June 2018. We saw a series of 3.1.x patches, fixing problems with memory leaks and performance. It also gave us a way to reconnect to servers if you crashed. You could literally just reconnect exactly where you were, so you didn't lose your ship, you didn't have to restart again, all that sort of stuff. We actually saw all the way up to a 3.1.4 patch, and that included a little bit more than just these fixes. It actually saw a IFCS, so flight model refactor, and ESP tweaks, giving ships and ground vehicles some big changes, though there were still a lot of problems with this. There were some concept ships that went on sale. The Origin 100 series, a new starter line of ships, the 100i, the 125A, which was the combat variant, and the 135C, which was the cargo variant. The Hercules Starlifter C2 cargo version, M2 military version, and A2 assault bomber. So the Hercules can carry Nova tanks or other large ground vehicles easily to the surface of a planet. The C2 being able to carry loads of cargo or 2 tanks. The M2 was a bit more armoured as the military version, but it had less cargo space, could only carry 1 of those Nova tanks and some cargo. And then there was the A2, which threw the brief out the window. Yes, it could still carry a tank, but it wouldn't be able to have any other cargo if it did that. It had size 10 mother of all bombs and lots of armor and gun turrets. It was also twice the price of the C2, and that caused a little bit of annoyance in the community. The Drake Vulture, the small scavenger ship, was also concepted. This ship allows a single person to more fully enjoy the salvage gameplay, the ship itself having hull stripping laser beam things to collect salvage from the hulls of ships, and then an area to process and compress scrap down. The mechanics for this also include players EVAing out, blowing parts of ships up to nom up with salvage charges, removing working components and weapons and that sort of stuff with a multi-tool, and then bringing them back to your ship. The Vulture also caused a light bit of tongue-in-cheek drama with the EVE community, as it looked a bit like The Venture from EVE Online. This even saw the EVE devs poking fun too, with a skin sale, I think, for The Venture, talking about sneaky vultures and things like that in their sale. Talking of drama, there were some headlines at the end of May, with some media taking issue with a reworked completionist package that Star Citizen was selling, the Legatus pack, which was available for $27,000 to players that had concierge status, but it was something very much requested by the people that had completionist packages and that wanted to buy it. No one's forced to buy it. Everything will be entirely available and obtainable in-game with in-game currency and that sort of stuff. You don't have to chuck money at the game at all. The end of June, we had Alpha 3.2 released. So this added some new ships, the Anvil Hurricane, the Asperia Blade, the Aegis Eclipse, the 600i Explorer variant, which is super cool, and scanning and pinging mechanics were added, so you could scan down signals of interest, ships, probes, minables. There was a destroy probes mission, and this was the first time we actually saw props that could be set up like ships and literally be given shields and weapons and things like that. Obviously, that's going to be very important for them making missions in the future. The mining mechanic was added, so in the Prospector, you could scan down mineable rocks on the surface of moons, see what they contained, and then fracture those rocks with the Prospector's mining beam, and then tractor the smaller sections of them up into your cargo bay, and then sell that at a trade console. It is a hands-on gameplay loop that worked extremely well in its first implementation. They also added the ability to overclock components, groups and party system, allowing you to form groups and see where your members were. Quantum linking and quantum improvements were also made, so if you were near group members, you could all quantum travel together, and they also had a new way of quantum traveling where you'd press B and then you could choose a destination to go to and then spool up your drive and then quantum travel there. There were tweaks made to the economy, so we saw weapons, armor, items, clothing for both FPS and ships sold and split up at different locations for different amounts of money all around the verse. There was also a bit of controversy with the new flight model in IFCS that they decided to change. So they went, we are changing the flight model, we're reworking it entirely, we're bringing the flight model entirely in-house with a full dedicated team that will work both on the implementation as well as the design. The designer of the current model, but not the new model, the one that's coming, John Pritchett, finished his contract with the CIG, and then someone pretended to be him on Glassdoor and a fake review of working for CIG, which then later had John posting to say, this dude isn't me. It was all just a bit odd. John's model is actually pretty awesome on paper, but extremely complex. It had problems with implementation, it seems, which was handled by a different team, and perhaps it being a bit too complex for Star Citizen's needs. The new model was then planned for the end of 2018 in 3.4, but we'll come to that a little bit later. And if you'd like to hear a bit more about what exactly is going to be changed in the new flight model, I'll link a video down below because there's quite a lot that goes into that. So that takes us to the end of Q2. Q3, which will take us to the end of September, is next. There was a 3.2.1 and a 3.2.2 patch fixing various quality of life issues, bugs, and increasing the availability of missions in the verse, as well as removing watermelons that were causing crashes. I kid you not. The RSI Apollo went on concept sale. This was a medium-sized medical ship that could be configured for 2 to 6 patients based on what tier of damage you wanted to be able to deal with across its 2 rooms, which you could literally choose what medical equipment you wanted in there. You could have tier 1 stuff, which could deal with almost anything, including near death. Tier 2, which could sort of like look after multiple crippled limbs and major injuries. Tier 3, which is more minor wounds and more stabilization of patients. It has medical drones that can fly out and it can grab people that are in space or that are injured and then bring them inside. There was also the Mercury Star Runner. So this was a concept of a courier ship that had some large storage for data and a reasonable cargo bay as well. It also finds itself very suitable for smuggling and the more stealthy evasion type of gameplay. It was very much influenced by the Millennium Falcon, and I think it was pretty damn popular with the community. But Q3 didn't actually see much added to the game or much happen. 3.3 was pushed back to October 10th for CitizenCon, or at least that was the plan. There was a little bit of drama as well with CIG wanting to charge for live stream digital tickets to watch CitizenCon live. This decision was changed within a few hours as the community was pretty annoyed. They instead made the stream available to all, and there was a $10 CitizenCon digital goodies pack that backers could buy if they wanted to support the stream further. Q4, so this takes us to the end of 2018. And it was massively overly crammed with the most content I've ever seen CIG release. CitizenCon, let's start with that. So this is on the 10th of October and was the largest and most successful fan event they've held to date. And it's annual, so expect one in 2019. 2018's was held in Austin, Texas, and had thousands of citizens turning up to see live presentations and an expo hall at this fan fest. They had various presentations live streamed throughout the day, and there was loads of people on the floor, sort of like role-playing, pretending to work for various companies in law, and loads of things to see. The actual live stream stuff that we saw from their channel was the keynote. So this had gameplay of the 3.3 branch of the game, the new planet Hurston, the city of Lawville, and a new mission to recover an item from a downed satellite from the planet's surface, which turned out to be stolen by a load of NPCs in a bunker, and that had to be cleared out as well. They had to be murdered. They did also release 3.3 to PTU for everyone, as 3.3 was not ready for its live debut yet. Now, it was interesting what they showed us in that keynote presentation because it was gameplay that we were just about to get into our hands. It wasn't something that's massively far out, although they did talk about some of the further out gameplay later on in CitizenCon, but they very much focused on the shorter term, this is what's going to be in your hands soon type of event, and a bit more of a celebration of Star Citizen. It was just interesting to see that, whereas previously they've shown us gameplay that's typically a year or more out. There were some presentations on the economy, plans for gameplay, various tech, character customization stuff, how they build planets, and a road to release. This road to release highlighted that they were going to continue to release major updates for the Star Citizen Persistent Universe every 3 months like they had been, and the major focus is getting the 3 remaining pillars of the game completed. So this is organization, group play features, full persistence, and server meshing, all obviously integral to play. Full persistence would basically mean they don't necessarily need to reset the servers anymore, everything's tracked in game, your actual progress will matter. Server meshing works with their object container streaming tech, basically saying this is a room and we can spin up servers or spin down servers to look after any size of room. So you can have a very small room, which would be an object container, and it could have 70 people in, so they spin up a server to look after that single room. Basically, it allows for the dynamic spinning up and down of servers based on the population needs of a particular area. And with that, they could have potentially everyone in the same server. On the same day, we saw the Drake Kraken light carrier go on concept sale. This is a mighty capital ship that backers wanted for ages, allowing for a load of ships to travel and land on it, and also be serviced. It was a limited sale, only a few thousand hulls were available, and it was waived as well to backers, so you had to request access to the sale and put in a story of why you thought it should be added to your fleet in there as well. Also, there was a Squadron 42 trailer shown. This was pretty damn awesome. It was a load of scenes that we've not seen from the game previously, some awesome action, locations, characters, and generally pretty cool fights and cool looks at like the Vandal fleets coming out of atmospheric-y, scary, spoopy areas. After this, a little later than planned, November 10th in fact, 3.3 went live. This actually came with the Valkyrie as well, which I should have mentioned was shown off at CitizenCon and was made immediately flyable. It was needed for Squadron 42, so they had sort of like had it working on in the background, and it came out and was ready, and they went, well, let's chuck it into 3.3. It's a mighty dropship that can carry 25 Marines plus a crew. The ship can also carry a vehicle, like a Tumbril Cyclone, which makes it extremely useful for combat mission running planet-side. Some backers were annoyed at its lack of usable cargo capacity, though, but it is one of the best ships, in my opinion, for use in the verse currently. 3.3 also saw the Cyclone variants, the TR, AA, and RC, the Constellation Phoenix, as well as the Hammerhead added to the game. So the Hammerhead is a massive gunboat corvette and was immediately used to have capital ship battles in the verse with orgs and lots of people flying around shooting each other with them. And it just sort of proved that multi-crew works in at least its elementary stages, and that it's pretty good fun even now, Star Citizen, as long as you don't mind organising some of those battles yourself. VoIP and FOIP were added and worked to an extent anyway. Rest stops were added, new mission givers were added. There was asteroid mining, scramble races, FPS AI missions at Service Point Korea, Teacher's Ship Shop as well, actually. So this is a place where you could actually buy ships and vehicles with in-game Alpha UEC. Though, again, this caused a bit of drama as players thought prices were too high, especially if every 3 months purchases and wallets for Alpha UEC would be reset. But major parts of the 3.3 patch were pushed to a 3.3.5 patch coming a couple of weeks later. And in that 3.35 patch, which was released on the 21st of November, and actually quickly followed by a 3.3.6 and 0.7 patch, added Hurston, Lorville, 4 new moons, another ship shop new deal on Lorville, more rest stops, and object container streaming. So object container streaming gave us a massive performance boost with frames, taking frames from 30 to 40 average all the way up to 70 to 80 average for me at 1440p. I mean, I hit over 110 frames quite consistently when just flying around now. Lorville and Levski had performance issues still, but this was only in very select areas when you were coming down to land, and even at their worst, it was still the best playable experience Star Citizen had seen. And this massive new gameplay area, which had ships travelling 5 to 12 minutes between Crusader and Hurston, was now there, and just the amount of surface of Hurston and the moons was staggering. It more than doubled the size of the game and gameplay area. Though at this stage, there wasn't much to do at Hurston and Lorville other than look around, but Lorville is a massive Austin, Texas-sized city which had a working train system and is absolutely beautiful. It's genuinely an amazing feat of game engineering, having that working in a multiplayer experience. November 23rd saw the 2948 anniversary expo. So every year they have this big ship sale where most of the ships, if not all the ships, go on sale again. And this sale spanned a week, with each day seeing another in-game ship manufacturer ships go on sale. This was also an event that was physicalized in-game. At Lorville on Hurston, there was an elevator at the Starport spaceport there to take you to a different expo hall every day. This also allowed you to rent the ships that were shown, which was every flyable ship in game over the course of the week. They ran this in conjunction with a free fly, allowing anyone that had a Star Citizen account of any description to come play. So lots and lots of new people tested out the game. They also showed off the Idris M on one of the sort of like expo halls on the Aegis Day, which was just a massive, massive beast of a ship. They had an Idris K upgrade pack available for Idris P owners. The Idris K pack basically is just a selection of equipment that allows you to equip your Idris P with a large beam weapon where the railgun would go on the M, and some turret upgrades to basically give it a bit more bang, boom, 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 bit more militarized. The 300i current grey box was displayed, as was the F7A Military Hornet and F8A Lightning. During that time as well, there were 2 new ships unveiled, the Arrow Light Fighter, which went straight to flyable, and the Apoa Santokyai, which went on concept sale. This is the sort of medium fighter version of the light Katu Al Shian fighter. Overall, this was one of the most successful periods of sales for Star Citizen, seeing over $7 million raised during that 2948 Expo sale. The 21st of December saw 3.4 release. Now, there were some features that had slipped to 3.5 by this stage. So 3.5 coming March 2019. And most notably, what slipped was the new flight model, female characters, and Arc Corp. Due to the sheer amount of patches and time left in Q4, they basically extended the 3.3 game branch into 3.4, giving us sort of like a 3.4 light patch, and some of those features that required it to go a bit beyond that were obviously moved to 3.5. So the patch still added Lorville's Central Business District, which is a large new area in Lorville, new mission givers, some ships, the Anvil Hawk, the 600i Touring, the Connie Emerald, and the freelancer variants, the Der, Miss, and Max. Scanning saw more improvements as well. There were some cool new armors and weapons added, but the patch saw a lot of quality of life and polish updates. Accessibility to missions and the Hurston area getting hooked up with those missions as well, because previously they weren't really hooked up to anything. It was just a tourist destination, but now the area is full with things to do. It was quickly followed by a 3.4.1 patch and some additional quality of life and bug fixes, which has actually left Star Citizen in an incredibly playable, accessible state. There's still problems with it, it's an alpha, but it's in quite a good, playable, fun state now that doesn't have you ripping your hair out in anger. That is why I'm bored, because I've covered Star Citizen for so long. But now it's good, it's starting to grow back. Financials were revealed. So this was absolute madness, in my opinion, or at least so unexpected. CIG revealed that they had sold 10% of their company to private investors for $46 million. This is actually planned, this money planned to be used for Squadron 42 advertising purposes. At the same time, they made their financials public with exactly what they had made from year to year and what they had spent it on, showing that CIG had a healthy $14 million in their bank account at the end of 2017, and 2018 has been their best year so far for funding. It also means that the project is incredibly transparent now. There are still a few things they're not showing us, certainly with Squadron 42. The roadmap certainly hasn't been updated for the persistent universe very well, although we'll come to that now. So we had a huge info dump with Squadron 42's roadmap for episode 1, ending with a beta now planned for around Q2 2020. It appears that Squadron 42 Episode 1 is at least roughly planned for a full release in 2020 now. That roadmap also highlights a load of features that are also important to the persistent universe and will be made PU ready where possible at similar times if they can, but some features take a bit more time to get ready for the persistent universe. It's easier to get some of this stuff just working for a single player game or for a very specific instance than it is for a multiplayer environment. A couple of highlights for that Squadron 42 roadmap were the Titan suits pegged for Q4 2019 and the Idris M and Javelin capital ships planned for Q3 2019. We'll look at the expectations for the persistent universe roadmap and things that are going to be happening in 2019 in another video. There was no holiday special this year, which was a bit of a shame, but Q4 had been jam-packed full of stuff. Also, most, if not all, of 2018 saw a Crytek v CIG lawsuit, where at the very end of 2017, Crytek had tried to sue CIG for various things, including IP infringement, using the CryEngine for Squadron 42 that apparently wasn't part of the original agreement, and also changing engine to Lumberyard, which apparently wasn't allowed according to them. However, in December 2018, a motion to dismiss for the major parts of the case was granted, and as it currently stands, there isn't much, if anything, left to Crytek's complaints. Though Crytek still have a chance to amend their complaint one last time in the new year, but it looks like it's probably been put to bed. I would love to know what your highlights were for Star Citizen during 2018 and what you're looking forward to or expecting in 2019 in the comments below. If you are considering getting a new gaming PC or upgrading, first please consider the Shadow Cloud gaming service. It leverages the power of your internet connection to turn a device, be it phone, laptop, tablet, or PC, into a powerful Windows 10 gaming rig. I've seen people just use their phones and a gamepad now to play Star Citizen. It works great for me in Star Citizen Alpha 3.3.7, and the Shadow guys keep on updating both their hardware and software. Your mileage may vary with Shadow though, based on your internet connection, so please bear that in mind. It is subscription based, and using the code BoredGamer will net you a discount. If you don't have Star Citizen yet, then please check out the links below as well to get 5,000 UEC, the in-game currency, as a bonus. Any comments and feedback is appreciated. Please take care, guys, and I'll see you in the verse.